Welcome back to the Low Bottom High Rise podcast with me, your host, Moira Casaba, and I am very excited to go outside the box a little bit today of our normal topics, entrepreneurship and success, and all the things that we talk about when it comes to kind of the success principles. But today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about motherhood, parenting, and how to really, kind of the same umbrella, be successful as a working mom or even just a mom that has all the hats. Because whether you have a quote unquote job outside the home or not, it is a tough job and we wear many hats within the role. And, I always, if you guys know me and if you're a listener, you know me, I always am tackling things like how can what's the formula? Like how can I figure this out? I'm very analytical in my thinking and I want to always come up with kind of like a system, right? So I can be like, okay, I got the system in place. Things are working smoothly now and I figured it out. And I'm always trying to, figure it out. There's always new problems, new level, new devil. But I did learn a few things along the way. I did figure out a few things. Probably, let's go back, gosh, 8 to 9 years ago when I transitioned from leaving the house and going to my job, my establishment, my business, to selling that business and working from home. it it came with a whole new host of issues and problems and obstacles. And I see so many moms struggle. And so I hope that this episode, you walk away with some real tools and strategies that you can put into place that just make all the difference, because that's what I'm going to share with you today. I'm going to share with you a few things that really, truly made all the difference. And I want to go back. I want to tell you first what prompted this episode. So I have been traveling and with my children 2 out of the last 3 weeks, and then next week I'm home this week, and then next week we leave again for 7 to 8 days on another trip. And so this really came about by me kind of going back to my system that I implement whenever I'm traveling, right? Whenever I'm traveling with my family, and my business doesn't stop, right? I work from everywhere all around the world. And what happened was I was reflecting back. I was reflecting back to like when I figured this out 8 or 9 years ago. And simultaneously, I had a couple friends last week that have younger children really falling apart, like really, really struggling. And, I don't say that lightly because I see their pain and I relate and I know exactly how that feels. And I have been there. I have been there a million times where you have guilt and shame around, the pressure of building a business, of earning income. But man, the guilt and shame of not showing up as the best mom version of yourself and being there for your children is really hard. It's really hard. And I go back to a trip that we went on when my kids were little, and we were in the Florida Keys. And I just remember thinking like, gosh, how am I going to, my business had really taken off and I was working a lot of hours, and I was like, how in the heck am I going to do this when we're in the Keys? And yes, I can take time off. I get that. But like when you're always out and about, like you got to figure it out. You got to figure out how to do it simultaneously. And so as we were on the trip, I was trying to work my business from my phone, from the pool, from the breakfast table, from the beach, from the dinner table. And I felt what I know my friends were feeling last week, right? This immense pressure and guilt of like not being fully present, not only to your kids, but to the adults in the room that are quote unquote on vacation, and just feeling really crappy about that. But then your phone's blowing up and people are pissed off at you because you're not showing up fully as you should for work. And it's a horrible, horrible place to be. And so what I figured out 8 or 9 years ago was like, listen, I was like, I can't do this, right? Pain is our greatest teacher. And I always say, if you're at that moment, if you're in that struggle, like it is such a gift if you so choose to see it as a gift. And if you can go, okay, what do I need to learn here? What do I need to figure out? And that's exactly where I was on that trip in the Florida Keys. I was like, I need to figure this out because this is not working. And what I decided to do was I told my husband, I was like, listen, tomorrow morning, is it okay? And, I was kind of asking permission, but also telling him, I was like, this is what's going to happen. I'm going to go to Starbucks down the street and I'm going to get up early. I'm going to, probably get my workout in, but then I'm going to go to the coffee shop and I am just going to like head down, work, 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 get every single question answered, do all the things that I need to do for the day and just run through it uninterrupted for 2 hours. And then I will be back at 10 and I will be done. And I remember the first day I did that. It was like, what the hell have I been trying to do this whole time? Like, why didn't I think of this sooner? It was magic. I felt so accomplished in my work. I felt like I checked all the boxes. I felt like I showed up everywhere I needed to show up. And then I came home and there was zero guilt about completely stepping away from my phone, away from my computer, away from my electronics. Now, because I worked, it's almost like at least for my job, I feel like it's almost like I earned my hours. Like if I head down, work as hard as I possibly can for 2 hours in the morning and uninterrupted in that situation, it almost like earns me like 5 hours where I'm like, I don't need to look at my phone for 5 hours. I have done my part, right? Now, 5 hours later, I might need to check back in. I might need to respond to a couple emails. I might need to return a phone call. But it's not the same as just trying to play catch up all day, trying to keep your head above water and drowning. Totally different. The other time this came up to me for me, and this was like a wild, just universe kind of coincidental like experience, I should say. What happened was I was like big goals in my business. It was summertime and I still had big goals in my business because I always do. And I committed with a girlfriend of mine. I was like, listen, we're going to hold each other accountable and we're going to do this level of work every single day. And it was like insane. It was like, frankly, crazy. But I knew that like that's kind of how I roll. So I was in, she was in. And I don't know if we decided that on a weekend or the previous week or something, but Monday morning rolled around and I was like, game on. I had a babysitter that day because I always kind of had a sitter like 2 days a week. I did have enough like wherewithal to be like, I need a little help. So I'm going to get childcare a couple days a week for what? Maybe, I don't know what it was, 4 or 5 hours or something. And maybe they were even at camp. They could have been at camp on Monday. But anyway, my kids were not underfoot. So I was head down, goals big, and like go, 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 right? And I remember what happened that day was I looked at my calendar and I was like, oh my gosh, I forgot that I scheduled and booked us into my friend was a professional water skier and he owns like a water ski lake. And I had scheduled that week to go to the lake on Tuesday and Thursday with my children. And I wanted more than anything to be able to go to the lake with my children and not work. I didn't want to work. Was like, these were like magical days that I had like set aside. Right. And I thought, I'm never going to be able to do this goal that I set for work. And then I just quickly decided, I was like, oh, I'll just double down. Even though what we decided to do was crazy, I'm going to double up on Monday, double up on Wednesday, and then be completely free on Tuesday and Thursday. And that set in motion compartmentalizing my time, but putting healthy pressure on myself that I didn't even have a choice on that Monday or that Wednesday or that 2 hours in the coffee shop on vacation. I don't have the choice to be distracted by social media, to take my time. I have such an insane list of things I have to get through that I have no choice but to be head down working as fast and as furiously as I possibly can. Right. And when I do that, I feel good. I feel responsible. I feel like I, showed up as a leader, that I did all the things I needed to do. And so that's what allows you the freedom to have the free time. But man, it is not the same when you're trying to send emails and do this and do that, and your kids are underfoot and you're getting done. Okay, let's break this down. I love numbers. I said I was analytical. So say that in that 2 hour break on vacation, you put head down and you can get 20 things checked off your list. Easy, right? 20 things in 2 hours, done. Here's what happens when you don't take the 2 hours. You are trying to have breakfast with your kids. You're trying to go to the pool with your kids. Your work is calling you, your phone's blowing up, and it's noon, and you've only gotten 4 or 5 out of the 20 done, and you want to cry, and your kids are crying, and everyone's miserable, and you've gotten 4, when in fact you could have just gone to the coffee shop and gotten 20 done, and that was 2 hours ago. Does this make sense? One of my girlfriends did a call for our company. This was probably 6 years ago. So I am not taking credit for this, but it's one of the most brilliant systems, if you would, that I have ever heard in my entire life. And I have referenced it and I've sent people to this training probably 200 times. So she talked about green light, yellow light, red light. She had, gosh, I almost want to say did she really have 4 kids? Like she had multiple kids, multiple very young children, and she was growing faster in the business than like anybody had in a long time. And she had this philosophy of red light hours, yellow light hours, and green light hours. And it's very much exactly what I'm saying. So she would wake up, and I'm not saying you have to do this, but just grab on and kind of, use this system and morph it into what you need to morph it into. But her green light hours were like head down, game on, nothing's interrupting me, go, 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 go on work. And so she would wake up before her kids and she would look at all the things that she needed to do in her workday. And she would pick out the ones that really needed her full attention, her full focus, that, she could just, and really those are usually the hardest things, right? The things we don't want to do. And she would take 2 hours, 2 green light hours. And I think it was from like 5 to 7 a.m. Again, you don't have to do that, but it works. Success leaves clues, people. And she would do all the most important things, right? All the most important things. What a lot of unsuccessful entrepreneurs don't get done throughout an 8-hour day, she was getting done before 7 a.m. 7 a.m. The most important things. But that was also the only 2 hours out of the entire day that she actually like sit down and did focused work. How crazy is that? And this is a wildly successful person. And so that's her green light hours. Now, what do the yellow light hours look like? Well, yellow light means kind of a little bit of both, right? You might be at the park with your kids, returning emails. For me, when I'm like in front of my computer, it's green light, go, 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 go. I know what those hours are in my calendar. But when I leave the house and I'm at a doctor's appointment or I'm, sitting there waiting for my, daughter to finish dance class, like I can work. Absolutely. I can get a lot of stuff done, but those are not green light hours. Those are yellow light hours where I do a lot of both, right? But nothing really needs my full attention. My kids don't need my full attention in those moments. Neither does my work. Okay. Now, the best part is when you do your green light hours and you do your yellow light hours, you get red light hours. You feel and know that you did so much that come 5 o'clock, come 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, whatever it is in your home, all the way up until 9 o'clock, maybe whatever those hours might be, those are red light hours. Mom is done. I am not working. The phone is in my purse. The computer is on my desk. The door is shut to my office. You have me, whether it's to my spouse or my children, 100% fully, full attention, playtime, attention time, eye to eye time, right? Listening to every word time, red light hours. What most of us are doing is 24 hours minus the sleep of yellow light. And we're trying to juggle all the things all the time, and nothing feels good, and nobody's happy, and you're not succeeding. So I hope that you can take these examples, whether you're on vacation this summer with your kids, whether you are just at home and they're underfoot and they're driving you crazy. Here, let me backpedal. Mamas, listen, 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 listen. If you are an entrepreneur and you are trying to build a business, you are worth a sitter 2 hours, 2 days a week. 2 hours, 2 days a week, you will get more accomplished in that 4 hours, that 4 green light hours, than you would probably get accomplished all week without it. You deserve it. And that's where I want you to start. But from there, block off green light days, red light days, green light hours, red light hours, and then obviously a lot of yellow hours, right? Where we are doing a lot of both. But I hope this episode just meets you in a place of heart and meets you in a place of just a deep breath, going, oh my gosh, there is another way. There is a solution. I don't have to feel this way anymore. And just know that we get it and we've all been there, but we figured it out and we're still figuring it out. And if you try this, which I hope you do, message me. I want to hear from you. I want to hear how it goes. Share this episode with a mom entrepreneur friend, maybe a dad entrepreneur friend. But until next week, I will see you on the gram and in the comments and in my emails. And thanks for tuning in, guys. See you next week.